Hey everyone, just thought I would start doing a video documentation thing over one of my latest projects. Uh, Here within the past year, I started kind of dabbling, trying out a few things with automotive work and couple that with movie cars, and next thing you know, I've got a Jurassic Park Jeep cruising around, which is a lot of fun. So that's I've kind of been bitten by the bug. I understand now why everybody's got a half dozen project cars in the works, and I'm well on my way with that. So where I'm at right now, I'm sitting in a 1992 Ford Explorer. I picked this up a couple months back and just been kind of casually working on a few things. Our weather hasn't been all that great, but now, we've got spring starting to roll around, starting to have some nicer days where I can get out and kind of do a little bit of odds and ends on this thing. Yeah, what's it going to be? Well, in the film Jurassic Park, 1992 Ford Explorer XLT was used as the tour vehicles. And they were heavily modified. They had bubble domes put on the roofs, little roof boxes. It was implied in the movie that they were electric driven vehicles, but they had a hidden driver stashed away in the back that was following a small camera on the front. So I've really loved the look of these vehicles. They're just something that always pops out and just screams Jurassic Park. I mean, just like the Jeeps, really. I mean, that you take a Jeep, you get it painted beige, add some red stripes to it. Nobody even cares if it's this, right kind of Jeep. But I mean, that's where half the fun comes in with doing these designs, is trying to get as screen accurate as possible. And, most people don't realize it, but the details really make things pop, especially, whenever you get other people that are passionate about the same kind of thing. They're looking at these vehicles saying, ooh, I like those details. And that's me. I like the details. And especially as I start learning a little bit more about how something was developed, the details really become something unique, and I start seeing those in other people's builds, and it's kind of a fun little thing. So yeah, the Ford Explorer. We'll do a walkabout here in just a minute. So with the Ford Explorers, really the cheapest part of the project is the vehicle itself. There's so many pieces on it that were custom. The entire interior, the seats, the dash, center console, that's all custom. Exterior, new paint job. You gotta cut a hole in the roof, do a special bubble dome canopy on it, and then there's so many parts that are just simply unavailable. Well, that's one of the nice things is having access to the Jurassic Park motor pool. I've got their website right here, and then some of the Jurassic Park Jeep forums. There's a whole community of people that are very passionate about these kinds of vehicle builds, and they've done an incredible job at documenting what parts go where, what kind of color schemes you should use, all the various options that exist out there to kind of help you get on the right road, whether if you're doing a tribute vehicle or trying to do something as screen accurate as possible. There's also a whole crew of people within those groups that do reproduction runs of some of the impossible to find parts. So that has helped immensely as I've started putting together my lists and, starting to order parts to try to make this thing happen. So, without further ado, let's do a walk around of the vehicle and kind of see where we're starting, how far I've got to go. All right, so here is the 1992 Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer edition. It's a slightly different trim level than what was used, but it still has the correct tan interior. So as you can tell, this vehicle, I mean, it's kind of seen some better days, but then again, it is also almost a 30-year-old vehicle. So it's got its ups and downs, and once you get some fresh paint on it, it'll be looking pretty good. It also doesn't help that it has recently rained mud here, so we've got that to work with. Existing paint, it's got flaking off a little bit and whatnot, but that'll all get sanded down real good and get the the stripes and greens and yellows put on. So front seems to be in pretty good shape. It's all got the correct rims, and please excuse the mouse bait on there. I recently had to chase a mouse out of the engine compartment. It was causing some problems. So it's got some dents and dings, pretty good on the door, but we'll be diving into that. Paints, flaking and all that, but again, big whoop, it gets repainted. It's got the privacy glass put in, so I'll need to be replacing the glass at some point. Not that big of a deal again. So I've already started tinkering with a little bit of the branding. I got my custom tag on there, along with the Jurassic Park tag, just for giggles, kind of just getting started. So yeah, that's exterior of the vehicle. I do have a little bit of rust that I've got to deal with down here on these panels. You can see, it's starting to rust out pretty good. And from what I understand, this is fairly common on Ford Explorers across a number of years. If we come around here to the other side, this side's in a little bit better shape, still fairly solid. So I'll have to worry about getting that patched up, but shouldn't be that big of a deal because all this is still there and fairly solid. So that's kind of the exterior in a nutshell. We'll pop inside and see what we've got to work with. So the interior is halfway decent, again, considering that it's almost 30 years old. The dash still looks great, which is great, but I'm going to be tearing it all out. I would like to do a screen accurate dash, which essentially takes this section here and mirrors it over by the steering wheel. So that'll be one of those fun projects to do. So I'll have to peel all that out and go from there. Carpets have some stains in it, but hopefully we should be able to dive in there and get those scrubbed out. I've found another source for carpets if worst case scenario these aren't salvageable. Seats have seen some better days, but again, seats are coming out. These have the electric seats in it. They'll be replaced with manual seats, and they'll have custom upholstery. So in the movie, the seat backs are cut off roughly right in here. I've got a different seat that I can show a little bit better on where they get cut at, so that'll be kind of interesting. Center console will come out. It's got a custom center console that comes down the middle with the TVs mounted in it and all that kind of fun stuff. Back seats are in really good shape for what they are, so I might wind up selling those and swapping them out for some of the others that I've got, just to kind of keep things consistent and maybe try to recoup a little bit of funding. Headliner is in nice shape, but again, going to be cutting that thing to pieces, so we'll kind of see how that goes. So let's pop around and take a look in the hatch. All right, so the hatch is in fairly good shape. The plastics are all there. The struts are actually doing pretty good. I might wind up replacing those anyways, just for giggles. But yeah, it's got all the plastics in place, and then you can see where I've been collecting a few parts, like the Explorer XLT badge, and the antennas to mount on the mirrors. I've got some extra mirrors there, which is a good thing to have. I've got the kind of hide a trunk piece going across there. So again, carpets can kind of need a little bit of cleaning up, but overall, seems to be a pretty good base. Oh, you can see my mirror. That fell off literally just about 3 minutes before I hit record on this. So it's like, yeah, okay, a few odds and ends. Glue that back together and should be good to go. But that's that is the 92 in a nutshell. So hopefully we'll be able to start getting this thing prepped and start doing some sanding. It's going to take an awful lot of work getting that done. I got to replace the glass here, replace the glass here. You know, the trim all around here is kind of pitted. The rubber's done essentially. So I've been reading on some of the forums where I can pick up some glass out of a slightly later model, and it seems to have some slightly better rubber on it. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah, see what I can get off. There's, you know, still some adhesive on here. It had those little airflow director things or rain guards that were glued on, but yeah, nothing that a little bit of elbow grease can't fix up. So that's the 92. And instead of, you know, trying to figure out, you know, like I said, I've got to replace this glass. I've got, you know, there's a pretty good dent right there. Circling around on this side, like this port door, it's got dings there. This has been kind of caved in there. Somebody's folded that back in real hard. You know, who knows what that hit. And this door, it's got some dings, you know. So instead of trying to work those dents out, started poking around online, and lo and behold, we found a 1991 Explorer. It's a little bit different from this one. It's the four-wheel drive version. You know, slightly older, but I mean, it's still the same generation, so a lot of the same parts. Fortunately, all the glass on it was the AS2 version, so it's got a little slight tint to it, but nothing like the privacy glass like this one has. So, you know, instead of trying to do the body work, try to hammer out some of the dents on these doors, I figured, you know, let's transplant the doors. And so now I have a Parts Explorer. We'll go have a look at that here in just a second. But, you know, for the price and for what these things are, you know, it's not a bad idea to, you know, have just an extra one around. That way I can grab bits and pieces off of it. It's got a functional engine in it, so should be able to, you know, if something goes wrong with this one, I can have something that I can work at rebuilding and then drop a good engine in. That one, the transmission is stuck in reverse. That seems to be the only gear that it has. These particular models of Explorers were not really known for their reliability. They were commonly known as the Exploders, just due to their transmission issues. So this one, you know, knock on wood, is still in good shape. It still runs great. I drove it back after I bought it, drove it back from Fort Worth, Texas to Oklahoma City, and you know, worked great. Everything was spot on. So hopefully after we're done working on it, it'll stay reliable. You know, again, knock on some wood, but you know, it's an older car. Stuff's going to happen, so you just got to be prepared for it and hope for the best. So yeah, let's go have a look at the 91 and see what we got. All right, and here is the red 1991 Ford Explorer. Picked this thing up in Kansas as a parts vehicle. So it should give me a few things to work with. As you can see, the doors are in pretty good shape. You know, the mirrors, whatever. You know, I've got new mirrors already. Doors are in decent shape. It's got the correct glass already. You know, again, this glass, I mean, that's about as best as you can ask for, except this rubber is just as rotted as on the other one. So I might look at a later model Explorer and see what we've got to work with there. Rolling around the back again, rear hatch glass. The tent, you know, I can work with that unless if I come across something a little better. It does have the defroster on it, but you know, what can you do? You know, we'll live with the defroster until, again, I can find something a little bit better. But yeah, the doors are in good shape. Windows are in good shape. And inside, it is red. So much red. Red everywhere. So much red. But I mean, that does give me, again, good vents, decent door panels if I have to. I've got these that might be a good base to work with. And then the seats. It's got these lovely manual seats, which will be perfect once, I'll paint up the plastics a little bit. And then once they get reupholstered, I mean, they'll be great. So with these, we'll cut them off. Just following this line right about here. Get rid of this headrest piece. So then that way the two front seats will be perfect. Two rear seats, they're in pretty good shape. The interior of this thing is actually in really nice shape. It's just very much 90s. So, it's kind of old, but, a good source for parts. Lots and lots of good parts. So, this one will be kind of interesting. We'll start taking things apart. I'll have a little bit of fun pulling the doors off. I gotta pull off all the panels and then get the electrical out and then start looking at, get everything marked up on that to make sure that everything lines back up where it should go. And then, interior wise, I'll have to mask this off, because all this gets painted tan, to match, I guess technically the term is mocha, so that way it matches the plastics on the interior of the other one. And then of course the exterior gets the green, yellow, and red stripes. So should be fun. Lots of work ahead of me. There's no particular timetable on this, so whenever it gets done, it gets done. That's get to have some fun doing it. Oh, yeah. Speaking of the the rust problems you've got on this one, you see that whole section is just completely gone. It is completely rusted out, and it's the same thing on the other side. It's missing huge chunks. So definitely a big problem with these particular Explorers. And it's something that is easily fixable. So that I say easily fixable. There's aftermarket companies that have metal pieces that you can buy and either cap over or weld on, cut out and weld on, stuff like that. I've read about people using fiberglass and a little bit of Bondo, things of that nature. So really, I've just got to try to, get the rust knocked off, get it treated, kind of see what I've got to work with. If there's enough material there, then, I might try the fiberglassing method and see. If there's not, just go ahead and buy a cap and then probably find somebody to weld it for me, because I haven't used a welder for 21 years. So it's not really a good thing to try to learn on again. But then again, I've done dumber things, so it's like, hey, if it expands your skill set. But yeah, we'll see what we got, and maybe start tinkering with that and go from there. So that's the two Explorers. The 92, I mean, that's going to be the base. I've run it around the block a little bit this weekend, since it was nice, give it a little bit of exercise, and we'll go from there. Obviously the red one, I need to put a rear tire back on it. Try to get that to where I can push it around the field if I had to. But yeah, we'll start maybe pulling some door panels off and see what we've got.